So, hello, good morning, and welcome with Ali Dose of Inspiration podcast. And this is Ali Tarnishi, the host, and we have a special guest today, Caroline Foster. She is a cancer survivor, a heart attack survivor, but all that doesn't keep her there. When things go wrong, don't go with it. And Caroline managed to come out of that from being she didn't decide to stay as a victim, but she came out of it as a victorious, and now she is starting or already having her nursing consulting business. And please help me have Caroline Foster and take it from there, my friend. Caroline, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your life story.
Well, I was born in Everett, Massachusetts in 1961.
Mhm.
And I lived there until I was maybe 11, and then I moved up to Maine, very close to, to Moncton. And I graduated from Portland High School. And then
Nice.
I got married when I was 18, right out of high school, and had two beautiful daughters.
Nice.
And I realized I got divorced just 2 years later, and I realized I needed to support my children, and I didn't have an education, so I went back to nursing school.
Okay.
And I graduated in 93. But my last year of nursing school, I got breast cancer, which was very scary because I was very young. I was maybe 30 at the time. And I kind of just went with whatever they told me, but they did say that I needed to have chemo, which I was a nursing student, so I investigated that, and I elected not to do it just because of the type and stage it was. And very fortunate for me, a year later, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, they were the go-to people for it because it wasn't so common as it is now. And so I elected not to have chemo.
Which year was that, Caroline?
1992.
1992. Okay. So that the cancer wasn't really big thing that time, like it wasn't.
It's not as common as it is now. So they didn't have the treatments that they have now.
Okay.
Either. And they weren't sure about how to treat it. So when they said they wanted to do the chemo, well, I did it, but then I didn't have my period, and I realized, oh, it's going to make me sterile. And though I had two children, I still wanted to remarry someday and have another child. So I elected not to do the chemo after I did some research about it. And very fortunate for me, they changed the protocol a year later. So people with my stage and type didn't have to have the chemo. So I was very happy about my decision and that they backed it up later because it's a risk, right? It was a risk that I was willing to take. And then a year later, I had what I think is a radiation-induced heart attack because they didn't have the ability that they have now to really zoom in on the field for the radiation. Even now, when I go to the airport, there's a little like pocket patch there. I'm still radiant, I guess. I don't know. But at that time, it was very hard for me because I didn't have the faith. I mean, I was Catholic and I raised my children Catholic. But it's one thing to have religion, and it's a whole other thing to have spirituality and faith. They're not necessarily the same thing, which I didn't understand at the time because I didn't really have a relationship with God. I just knew he was there. It's kind of like the boss, you've never met the boss, but you know that they're running the company.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I like that.
The heart attack was
the boss, he's running the company, but you never met the boss. Yeah, I like that.
But it doesn't mean he's not the boss of the company. He's still the boss of the company, whether you acknowledge him and meet him or not.
Exactly.
Right. And so I didn't have a personal relationship with God. And thus, you can't trust someone you don't know usually, right? Most of us don't. I mean, yes, strangers on the road when we're driving. You have to trust them. But by choosing to trust, you have to choose to trust sometimes. And so at that point, I had the heart attack, and I think it was from the radiation. And that was just a year later. And so I was kind of angry at God. Or I thought I was being punished, it's Catholic guilt. Religion has its pros and its cons. And so I did develop, though, a relationship with God because I started to need to depend on him, right? And then when the cancer, I got a different kind of cancer when I was 52, maybe.
Okay.
But I remember when I got it, because this is how good my spiritual journey had been since then. When I got it the second time, I was like, oh, not again. That's kind of like, no, not again, like inconveniencing me.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next thought was, I trust you. And that was directed towards God, because at that point I had developed a relationship in which I felt like I could feel God's presence.
So at that time, Caroline, like you were cancer free from the first one, huh?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It was a whole different kind of cancer. Same side, same location, but a whole different kind.
Okay.
And this time I had to have a mastectomy though. So, which is fine. I mean, I'm still alive, right? It was a good trade, I guess.
Amazing. Like you're a really strong and brave lady. So when the second time happened, did you feel like you are ready? You feel like you are well connected with God? You feel like, bring it on, I'm ready for it. Like whatever come, I am dealing with it.
I literally did trust God. I literally turned all of that over to God, and I didn't worry about it at all. Which, I mean, and I also, because I was in that state of mind, I was able to give my family and friends little projects to do. Because I think when you have cancer, you're so absorbed in the system, the healthcare system, and so busy that you don't really have a lot of time to fret, because you're just trying to get things going, right? Get that treatment done, get that. And there's a lot of attention from the healthcare system for you.
It's true.
But for the family and friends who have to worry about you, it's a lot harder. So I knew this, and you feel so helpless. You want to do something, but you don't know what to do. So I gave them all little tasks to do. Like, you can be in charge of updates to everybody, email updates, and you can be in charge of dinner on Monday. And so I gave them all little assignments, right? So they feel like I'm doing something helpful.
That's a good idea to kind of just like, you guys take care of that, I will take care of this. Me.
Right. Because there was nothing. I mean, literally, that helpless feeling is the truth. You are helpless. You hope that the person you love is going to be okay, but you don't know. And not everybody has the faith that I had. I mean, and I didn't know how it was going to go. I just knew that I trusted God, that it was going to go the way it's supposed to go.
Were you, for the second time, Caroline, ask you this question. Were you scared? Were you afraid?
Surprisingly, no. Right? I should have been. But of course, I also, I mean, take if you took God out of the picture, which I can't, but if you did imaginarily, the first time I was very scared, but I also didn't have that support and that my faith and that strength and the courage. But I did survive it once, so maybe that played into it a little bit, that I wasn't afraid. And the treatments are much more advanced, and they know a lot more about it. And it was early enough, so I didn't have too much cause to be afraid. And like I said, my faith was very, very strong then. It certainly tested it, don't get me wrong, but it was very strong. And so I got to be honestly, I don't think I was very afraid. I think I was just, let's get through it.
The reason I ask you that question is because I'm probably the first time when you had the cancer, you were more scared than the second time.
I was horrified. Yeah. I wanted to ignore it, actually. I told her, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I just wanted to ignore it. I just wanted to go through the motions and get done with it. It was very lonely and very scary and very hard, versus the second time, not so much at all. I mean, I think faith is a beautiful coping skill for life.
It's I'll give you an example for that. I heard it from a friend. He said, when your heart is empty, and it's almost like there is two houses, one house that nobody living in it and nobody take care of it. So after a couple months or couple of years, when you go to that house, it will be like scary inside that house, because probably you will find spider, you will find like almost like it's haunted house. It's scary because nobody taking care of it, nobody cleaning it. But the other house that there is somebody living in it, cleaning it every day, taking care of it, like putting a nice flower there. You go in it, you feel like same thing for the heart. If there is no faith, you feel there is like a hole in the heart. You feel like lost. You feel like scared.
There is a
You feel,
hole, and that's God's hole. That's where God goes. That's
Mhm.
that everybody has a little. I used to call it a hole in the soul, like the sense of something missing all the
Hole in
time.
the
And
soul.
I think it's the connection to God that's missing. Like if you don't have a connection to God, you can know about God, but it doesn't mean you're connected. You might even believe in God, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're connected to God
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship where you, like, I think God finds ways to communicate with us that's meaningful to us individually, each person. The same way we communicate with our children in different ways because of their personality and who they are.
It's
And I
true.
think we're all children of God. I think we're all interconnected in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think God may be the collective consciousness of all of those connections.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of theories about it because I've had plenty of time to think about it.
I
And
love
it's
that. And usually, a lot of people, or as a human, it's a human nature that when we get hit and get hit hard, we just said, "Why it's me? Why it's me?" Like you just feel like you were targeted. But God actually chose us, and He threw that at us. And when we say like, "Why it's me?" Like what Mr. Brown, Les Brown said, "Okay, why it's me? Give me someone in the list. Name someone so I can send it to him instead of just why me." But we feel actually privileged to get chosen because when we are chosen, it's almost like God tell us, "Hey, buddy, you're going the wrong way. You
exactly.
should change the path." Because in rejection, there is redirection.
It's a 2x4. I used to call those 2x4s.
By force? Okay.
2x4. You get hit by a 2x4. You're right. I mean, if you're going in the wrong direction far enough, and if you ask God to help you, then don't be surprised when you get a 2x4. Just because you're not listening, right? You need to change your path. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is 2x4? Explain to me. 2x4.
Like being hit by a 2x4, a piece of wood the size of
Ah,
a
okay, okay. So 2x4.
2x4.
The piece of wood. Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
so I've gotten plenty of them. It took a lot to wake me up, but here
Okay.
I am. I'm awake now.
Yeah. But it's actually it's mean like we are alive. We have a good heart. Because it's almost like a little child. When you have a little child and they are doing something wrong, you tell them, "Okay, don't do that." The first time, and they say time, they tell them, "Don't do that, sweetheart. That's not good what you are doing," and they're still not listening. And they say, "I just told you don't do that," and you're just like,
Right.
"Oh."
Exactly.
The same thing for God. It's just like they send us a little test. They test us to wake up. Send them another one to wake up. But when we don't, they shake us. And that shake,
2x4.
2x4, bang! Where did that come from?
Bang. Now you got that message.
Now
Right?
you wake up and said, "Oh, that's really serious. I need to wake up."
It's sad because sometimes that's what it takes. I'm not sure if that's just a normal part of human nature, but sometimes that's what it takes for some of us.
Mm-hmm.
And God knows what it will take.
Yeah.
I don't think God punishes us. And when you say why us, but then the question really is why not me? Like
Mm-hmm.
why should someone else get that burden and not me?
Yeah, that's become more selfish. Like, why me and not someone else? So it's almost like we want to be bad to people, not to us. But
Right.
if we got it, actually, I've been hit to the rock bottom many times as well.
Mm.
But because of that, I am the person that I am right now. If that
It's
didn't
exactly what makes us us. Right.
exactly, if that didn't happen to me, my life will be still the same, and I will be still that selfish person, that ignorant person, that person that don't care at all, just about himself and stuff. But now I see things from different perspective. I see it from abundance. I see it from a gratitude perspective. And the problem, Caroline, that a lot of people have is they stay there. If something happened to them, if they have pain, they stay there. They don't get out from that, and
They don't know how necessarily. I mean, how do you get out of it? If I think a lot of it has to do with, I think we have a generation of, not just our generation, sometimes maybe human beings generally. I find the kinder a person is, what I would consider like a really good person, are also the same people that don't really love themselves very much or know necessarily what a good person they are.
Mm-hmm.
I also think most human beings, we have this sense of loneliness. And so we need a connection. I think the same way we need air and food and water. We need to be connected, but it's not something we talk about. It's not something that people necessarily know about themselves. And I think that connection needs to be through God. And then it forms the connections for everything else. Like, I think the big lesson of Jesus was love and forgiveness, right? And if everybody practiced that, the world would be so different. If we forgave people, genuinely forgave them when they offended us, and loved them regardless of how they treat us. I mean, you don't have to hang around with them all the time, but if you can love and forgive people to the best of your ability, it's a very big thing to ask of anybody. But when you do it, life becomes much easier. There's no carrying around regret, remorse, and anger and hatred. And there's just so many things you're freed of by doing the right thing. It just makes life easy. Like when after my surgery, I waited a few years, and then I went and got a beautiful whale tattoo to put there, which is so much prettier than the scar. But I mean, and that's how I coped with it. I mean, it's not sad at all to see it. I love the tattoo. I love whales, so. But yeah, it's very freeing. And then my heritage is Irish, 87%, I guess, according to my brother and Ancestry.com. I'm very Irish.
Nice.
And I had the word Saoirse tattooed on there, which is Gaelic for
Saoirse. Okay.
Saoirse. And it's the Gaelic word for freedom, liberty. So sometimes you have to lose something to gain something.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's lose something to gain something. But actually we don't really lose it. We just
transform it.
It's in life we come with nothing and we live with nothing. So I don't know why as human we get attached to something that we are not going to keep. It's when we attach to money, when we attach to something, we become actually prisoner to that. And that's the problem. Like with society, with the capitalism, with materialism, it just we become. I have a car, I want another car. I have a bike, I want another bike. I have a house, I want. So it's almost like we want more and more. So what is enough for the human? What is enough?
Well, advertising, marketing and advertising, I think, is responsible for a lot of that. Like you always need more. And if we expose, like I don't watch the news ever. I don't need to know.
2 years.
It's the same. I mean, I'm like, tell me when something's different. Tell me when people are doing something that they haven't already done. It's just different faces, different places, same problem. So I don't need to see it all the time. And it's so bad for you because you are what you eat, right? And so you become what you watch too.
That's true.
So I'm very careful about what I expose myself to.
Same thing for me, like news. It's been almost 3 years now. I don't even watch news anymore. I don't listen to news, and I notice a big difference in my life. The same thing for negative people. It's almost like like if you have like a bowl of fruit, beautiful fruit, and you have another bowl of fruit which is molded, and if you take just a little mold from the other one and put it with the good fruit, 2 or 3 days, all the good fruit will start bad.
Exactly.
So same thing for relationship. You don't have to, like, sometimes even the toxic people, or even it's in our family and friends, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that we have to get rid of them or something. No, we just have to be around them, but we just don't let that energy get us there.
Boundaries.
Boundary. Let's say the boundary.
It took a long time for me to learn about boundaries, but I have them now.
Yeah, it's good. It feels good. The same thing for me too. When you set boundary, I feel like free. Like, yeah, that's not for me. Keep that. Right. That's yours, not mine.
And that's so important. I read this book. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, The Untethered Soul. And in it, he basically says everybody. Untethered Soul.
Untethered Soul. Okay.
Untethered Soul. And in it, he says, you know, we all have, it's like backpacks. It's your own woes, right? Your own cross to bear, whatever. And that sometimes we carry other people's backpacks when we shouldn't. And it's not even helpful for them because now they're not going to build endurance and strength and whatnot. The things that make us grow stronger in life because you're taking care of their problems for them. And how you just need to carry your own backpack and not other people's. That we're responsible to people, but not for them.
True.
which I thought was a great message.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say, he said, also sometimes we have stones to carry, right? And that's when you need help. Big burdens, crises in your life. That's when it's nice to help. But otherwise, no. Don't enable people, in other words. Don't fix their problems for them. Let them have faith in them, really, that they can fix their own, because they have a God too, right?
Well, each one have their own journey. Each one have their own journey. Like we can be their mirror and try to help them if they need help, when they need it, if they are ready. But if we are like, let's say for instance, we are going up and someone try to drag you down, you can get down to assist them, to help them. But some of them like to try to keep you there with them at the bottom. And that's when you said, okay, I will give you the tool and try to help you to get out from there. But I'm not like, you are not going to be dependent on me, because each one have their own journey and each one will learn from it. Because if we just help them, I like the Chinese proverb, we say, don't give me a fish, but teach me how to catch a fish.
Exactly. That's exactly correct. Right. I completely believe in that.
And I like when you said about the backpack, about the untethered soul. I saw a video few months ago, and he said human, when he gets someone and just get like so mad and he just like bring it and all dump it on you, it's like almost like a garbage truck. It's just going, and they are through all their day, they are just getting this garbage from this guy, garbage from this guy, garbage, and probably are the one that get all that garbage dump on you when they reach that limit, and they just pour it all on you.
So that in the end, you're suffering more than they are, which is just horrible. When you think about it, began as trying to help, that you end up suffering more than they do. And I wanted to just revisit quickly the topic you had mentioned about attachment to things, because Buddha, one of the premises there is that attachment leads to suffering, which took me a long time to wrap my head around, right? But it's so true, because even like in faith, I have to literally be willing to surrender everything to God. Like if you're going to trust God, then you also have to be willing to surrender everything to God, which is a huge, hard thing to do. And I think I reached the point where I'm like, okay, I will do it. Only because I think, what is it in life that I couldn't live without? Really couldn't live without. And in the end, it was God. I can live without, I guess, everything else, but I couldn't live without. I mean, life would be meaningless without my faith. I just couldn't imagine the point of it without believing that there's a unification of a whole and the connection.
I love that, and it's true. The same thing for me. God was always there in my life. Was always there. Almost was like a hand hanging down from the top, and always like pull me up, always pick me up from all the bad situations. But he's waiting for my hand to reach out. But I was always ignoring that hand. But the moment I decide, okay, I need help, and he pulled me out, I realized that surrounding everything to God, you will get satisfaction, you will get fulfillment, and you will get happiness. Peace. And you just like, you feel you are alive. You feel you have a purpose. You feel you have intention.
Yes.
And before we were just almost like you are driving your car with your brake on. It's just, but the car is not moving. What's going on?
Yeah. You're stepping on the gas and you're not going. Right?
But you take off the emergency brake and you see like, holy, I'm passing everyone that passed me. I'm on the highway and waving to everyone. What's going on? Then you realize.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. Then you realize like, oh, thanks God. Like, and it's funny. Like I have like 3 verses from the Quran that I had on my whiteboard, and I've been moving like all different houses. When I hit the rock bottom, everything was erased from that board except those 3 verses.
Wow.
And
what were they?
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. He said, and whoever put his trust in Allah, he will make for him a way out. Whoever put his trust in Allah, he will make a way out for him and will provide for him from where he doesn't expect.
It's the truth.
And
I mean, the only way to know it is to do it.
Out from my depression. I get a way out from my problem. I get a way out from everything that was bothering me, and I get provided from where I doesn't expect it. That's the verse
Always.
number one. The verse number two, that it say, God will never change people. God will never change people condition unless they change themselves.
It's the gift of free will, right?
Yeah, I have everything, but I didn't change in myself. So I said, okay, I need to change. I changed my mindset. I changed my belief, and I surround to God. I surround to Allah. And the third one, it say, and whoever believe in Allah will guide his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Of those two verses, it's just like, I said, holy, how, and I asked this question. I said, if God was with me all those time that I wasn't with him and everything was good, imagine now if I am with him, how things will be.
Right.
And I become
with God.
And I become with God, and I didn't regret it. I just see blessing after blessing and happiness after happiness, and I just feel my life. Even like when I have nothing and I have problem, I still smile and they see happiness in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel like when something bad happens in their life, they feel like God abandoned them. But in truth, like even myself back then, when the first time I got cancer, I'm like, you know, why me? I did that. Why me? I am trying to raise my kids, be a good mom, get an education so I can support them. Why me? Why my last year of school? Why? Mm-hmm. But I think the truth is that we think God abandons us when in truth we abandon him. We don't go to God unless everything has hit the fan, right? It's all piff everywhere. And that's usually out of desperation. It's not necessarily a belief, right? You're desperate. A lot of people go to God, so to speak, in desperate moments. But it works when there's not a desperate moment. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's always, like you said, as soon as I released that and trusted God, I've never really had to deal with anxiety and depression. Not to say it doesn't creep in here and there, but it's so quick to remove. Mm-hmm. Literally, I only have to ask for the peace of the Holy Spirit, and bam, it's almost instantaneous. It's kind of miraculous. It's not something I usually tell people because it sounds so corny, but it's true. And it's because of my faith, right? That's deeply planted in me now, that I don't fear. What is there to fear? If God is in charge, what do we have to be afraid of? Anxiety sometimes is really a demonstration of a lack of faith. So whenever I have anxiety, I tell myself, oh, you're having a lack of faith. You want to redirect yourself now.
I like that. Anxiety is the lack of having faith.
Right. One of my patients said that to me because I asked her how she coped with things.
I like that. I'm writing it down.
Yeah. She had it on a pillow in her room. So she never could forget it. But also I think that God is universal. I think he's just many, many names. But I think all religions are talking about the same God. So I usually try to find unifying principles in all religions. Like I'll go anywhere. I'll go to church or a mosque, or I'll go anywhere because I want to know. I'm curious, right? I'm very curious. It's one of the gifts God's given me is my curiosity. And it educates me a lot. It helps me be very tolerant and helps me in a lot of ways. And I find it fascinating that people choose not to focus on the likeness, but on the dissimilarities. Instead of focusing on, oh my gosh, we all have these feelings, we all have these needs. You know, everybody needs to be loved and accepted, and it's free. It's not going to cost you a penny to give that to someone. Nothing. But people don't want to give it up. I don't know why.
No, it's just like stubbornness. People stuck in their own thinking, their way of thinking, and they are not open. That's the problem. And usually, the truth exists in the heart. Our heart will never lie. If there is an argument, between the mind and the heart, always follow the heart.
Always follow, exactly. And I pray often for consistency between my heart and mind, that they be consistently that they agree. What do I call it? Congruency. That's what it is. I pray for that every day because it's one of the ways that I have peace, right? When my heart and my mind are on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ignore that. I work towards it, right?
Beautiful. Beautiful. And now go back like you are, because I just want my podcast is about positivity, giving hope to people, and giving them second chance. And with this COVID-19, when it hit, I'm sure like all over the world, everyone wake up, everyone see what really more important is being with the family, being connected to yourself, to the core of who you are, being connected to God. And materialistic thing, it doesn't mean nothing when you can't do anything with it, when you can travel, when you can get out,
Right.
when all
Right.
it matters is when you breathe, when you appreciate, you can see, you can sleep, you can touch, you can feel, you can
Right.
do all those things. That is what matters. But a lot of people, like how many people like they have like a blue passport, red passport, and they are proud of it, they can go anywhere in the world. But no, you can't. Now COVID-19 make you stay in your house with your mask on your face wherever you want to go. And it doesn't matter if you get mad, it doesn't matter if you take it like seriously, you can go anywhere. Doesn't matter. Even you're a president, even you're a king, it's the first time the world united between the north, the south, the east, the west, the poor, the rich. Just God to tell us, people wake up, be as one nation, love each other, have fun, and support each other. And it's not, don't like compete or just like go for money, 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 money.
Right. It
So,
leveled the playing field in a lot of ways.
it's true.
And I think a lot of people have trouble being with themselves. I mean, just being with yourself, because I think a lot of people don't know themselves, which is so sad, right? But I think it's true that a lot of people don't take the time to know themselves, love themselves, forgive themselves, even acknowledge. Like I do a gratitude list for me. It never occurred to me to give myself a gratitude list. I'm like, I have to thank myself. Oh, I'm thankful that I'm so creative. I'm thankful I'm so brave. I'm thankful that God made me smart enough to go to school. That I was smart enough to finish school. I mean, grateful for the things that we take for granted all the time, like gifts that God gave everyone gifts. I don't think anybody doesn't have theirs. It's just a matter of when your gift shines. Like I'm sure there are people that didn't realize the gifts they have until COVID hit. And that's when their gifts were summoned up to be used for the good of mankind, basically.
Me, I'm talking about me. COVID, I said, thank you, Corona. Brought the talent in me, brought the gift in me. I start this podcast. I start my YouTube channel. I write my own book during Corona. A lot of stuff showed during Corona.
Right.
But before, I was just, I like what you said earlier. You said people don't want to hang out with themselves. They don't want to know themselves. And I was the same thing. I was just want approval from people. I want to be around people, but I was ignoring the person that I am. I wasn't making that relationship with myself. I wasn't listening to that person. I didn't listen to the God. I was giving advice to people, but I never listened to my own advice. But when Corona hit, I was like I said, just almost looking at myself like, oh, buddy, no, it's not just me and you. We have to, we have to, we have to make a real connection here. Like there is no, and
so we choose, right, to be our own best friend or our own worst enemy.
True.
We choose.
It's true.
And every day I choose best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Best friend. Works out so nice.
I start even have a connection with them, like even a communication. Like I look at the mirror and just like talking to myself. What are we doing today? And this and this.
But we're not encouraged. We're not encouraged to do that. And we should be encouraged to do that. I mean, you have to have a relationship with yourself. You have to be able to forgive yourself. You can't depend on other people's approval. You can only depend on your own approval. I pretty much don't care what anybody thinks of me. I only care about what I think of myself. If I can live with myself, if I'm happy with myself. I do the right thing, but it's because it's important to me. It's not just, it used to be because I was afraid of God. If I did something bad, I'm going to hell. That is not anymore, because I don't think God punishes us. I think we punish each other. I think human suffering is really largely in part of other human beings, right? Maybe 10% world catastrophe stuff. But the rest of it, 90% of suffering inflicted by humans, sadly self-inflicted, which I never realized how much is self-inflicted suffering. I mean, people torture themselves thinking they're not good enough. They're not good. Of course you're good enough. You're here. I used to have this thing on my fridge when my kids were little, and it said, "I know I'm special because God doesn't make junk." And
I like
I
that.
loved it. I loved that expression. I needed to hear it too, but I put it there for my kids when in reality I needed to hear
Can you
that.
repeat it for the audience again? To
That I know I'm special because God doesn't make junk.
doesn't make junk.
Junk, right? And that's true for all of us. Like, if we're special, and so everyone else is as well. Everyone else has access to the same God I do, which is why I don't worry about people or Corona or any of that stuff, because they have the same God I have. And I take a great comfort in knowing that. I take a great comfort in knowing God knows me, that I cannot hide from him. And I'm glad that I can't hide from him, because he keeps me on the straight and narrow when I ask for help.
It's true. It's true. And we have 3 minutes left, my friend Caroline. And I really would like to say this again. I feel so special because God doesn't make junk. That's really special. God make us as original, and we choose to be a copy.
Right.
God make us as original, and we choose to be a copy. A lot of people say they want to be like that famous actor. They want to be like that famous singer. They want to be like that famous athlete, but they are not doing a great job for themselves. They are ignoring that person that's inside of them. They are.
Right.
That's why they feel depression, because they are pressing all the emotion, all the creativity, all the imagination that's trying to come out, and they are trying to be someone that they are not.
You have to accept yourself. Why would you want to be anyone else? There's no one whose life I want to change places with. No one.
Mm-hmm. Nobody will buy a copy. People like to buy original.
Right? Exactly. And you're so much happier, right? And that, I think, is a lot to do with our discontent, is that we're not content with who we are. We don't have to stay where we are right now, but we have to accept it so we can go forward. You have to love yourself where you are. And then if you want to aspire to be better, then go ahead and do it. But you need your own support. You need your own motivation. I mean, happiness is so much a internal thing. Like, I can go and watch nature for hours, and literally out, and be pretty darn happy. And it's free. I mean, it's free.
Well, happiness is everywhere in ourselves. If we decide, I heard a saying, I think it was by Shakespeare. He said, earth have music for those who can listen.
It does. It's true.
If we really tune in, if we tap in and connect with who we are. And to go back to the pain, that's a lot of us, or a lot of people suffer from. Pain is unavoidable. When you get cancer, Caroline, you could avoid that. God sent you that. But you choose not to suffer. And the problem is, a lot of people suffer because they keep visiting the past. They keep going there and stay there.
Cannot live there.
I lost my dad, I lost my mom, and they keep just like, it's gone 10 years ago or 5 years. So pain, unavoidable sufferance is a choice.
Right. And that's why forgiveness is so important, right? You have to forgive the people that you feel like hurt you when you were young. You don't forgive them for them, you forgive them for you, so you can move on. So you're not dragging around the past. It's like a butterfly, right, with a rock tied to it. You have to let go or you can't fly. That's just how it is. Let it go or be stuck there. And it's just nicer to let it go.
It's true. It's true.
Right.
At Ali Dose of Inspiration podcast, we had really an amazing special guest today, Caroline Foster. What is like some dose of inspiration that you will leave with the audience? Now you're a survivor of cancer, heart attack, and you still managed to come out from this as a victory. So you didn't decide. It's about choice. You didn't decide to stay there, but you decide to go up and go for your dream and still come out as a winner. Give them some advice, something to finish with, and wrap up this beautiful podcast.
So much pressure. I think just really love yourself. Put God first, put yourself second, and then everyone else third, because they all have a God. They don't need to be put in front of you. You need to put yourself in front of everyone except God. And that's how I run my life, really. I come second, because if I don't love me, then where am I going to get love to give to other people? The more I love myself, the more I have to give away. It's the strangest thing, right? But it's the truth. The more I love me, the more I have love for everyone. And it comes so easily. It's not even sacrificial. Like, people think you need to sacrifice for God. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need to give God what any good father would want. And that is your best, be your best, and be happy. I think what God wants from us, I used to always ask him, what do you want from me? And I think the answer is, I want you to be happy.
Wow.
And it's that simple, right? I want you to be happy. I give you a beautiful planet where the sky is never the same any day, always different every day. I paint the sky for you every day, and you ignore it. I want you to be happy.
It's true. It's true. Amazing. What a powerful piece of advice and wisdom coming out from you, Caroline. And it's all about be with God and always be positive, have a good attitude, and stay or choose to be happy and not to suffer. Because what happened in your past, stay in the past. That's why we live in the present. That's why we call it a prison, because it's a gift to us.
Right.
So thank you very much, my friend Caroline. It was a pleasure. It was an honor to have you on this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you so
stay
much.
tuned for more to come, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.